Steve Marose, thanks for joining us on BBC News. Today, Joe Biden is pardoning you and thousands of others who were convicted and, in your case, jailed, essentially for being gay. How are you today? Is this a great day in your life?
It's pretty fantastic. It's that thing I've been waiting for and hoping for a long time. I'll say that it's metered excitement and enthusiasm because the announcement isn't, here's all the people we're pardoning. Um, it's we now have we're going to do this. I mean, potentially thousands of people, and there's a process. They put a process in place to apply to get that part. So, obviously there are parameters that you need to have been convicted of Article 125, consensual sodomy, purely based on your sexual orientation. That is the case for me. So that's why I do have optimism, but it's not a done deal, if that makes sense.
Sure. And talk to us a little bit about the impact having this conviction, this criminal record has had on your life, on your career for almost 40 years now.
For the longest time, it just sat in the background. And I know that seeing it, I had a therapist who dug up a lot of that baggage, that emotional, the regrets, the guilt, the heavy weight that kind of had that I built walls of about emotionally. But I do know that when I got out, old friends told me that a light had gone out in me, that there was something that they could tell there was a change in me. But I proceeded as an out proud gay man after that. So I certainly used it as my motivation to become militant. But there have been those moments where this tripped me up a little bit. It is a felony record. I thankfully live in a state that doesn't consider you a convicted felon if it's not a felony here, and it's not. So I can vote. But I was my ex-husband was a police officer, and I wanted to get a job with the police department as a dispatcher. I scored very highly, but they couldn't because of my record. Didn't matter. They said it doesn't matter what it's in. We want you, but we can't. So there was an example of when it stopped me from getting a job. I'm in the financial industry and I have backgrounds done and have to register as a rep, federal rep, as a registered rep. And they do backgrounds every time when I've changed jobs, and I have to dig it all up again and show them this is what it was. This is what the charges were. This is the outcome. This is why it happened. And even it hasn't yet. I haven't been denied a job outside of the police job I mentioned. I haven't been denied a job for it yet. But there's just that feeling inside of having to dredge all that up and then hope that they land on, oh gosh, yeah, don't worry about this. And it's not necessarily guaranteed, right? Because they could go, yeah, we're not going to mess with this. You have this record. I can't get into Canada because they don't care what your conviction is. They won't let you in. I'm pursuing, trying to see if I can get around that. Just as an example, the foreign travel thing, and just having it. I mean, it can it could. I bought my condo, but if I was trying to rent or do some other things where they'd have to do backgrounds every time, that's going to pop up, and then I will have to explain it. And you never know where they're going to land when you explain it. So it kind of just hangs over me in that regard. Again, I've proceeded with my life in spite of it, but it hangs with me, and I haven't had anyone react negatively to it in my life. They all just think I'm, this, I'm. It was wrong done to me, but I don't know. I mean, I could run to that person that does judge me for it. I will also say this, the Article 125, and I guess this is one of those impacts that I haven't felt yet, but I could feel it. Article 125 was sodomy of any kind. In 19, and again, my charges were consensual. In 2013, Obama removed consensual sodomy from Article 125. It still exists, Article 125, but now it's only non-consensual, sexual assault, etc. I have Article 125 convictions. if someone doesn't know the history of it and they look, I look like a monster. And that's sort of my rationale for basically being able to say, if this announcement hadn't happened this morning, of being able to say, you guys got to fix this because it's not even against the law. It's not even a crime anymore. Never should have been, but it's not a crime anymore. And it looks like I did something differently than I did. And
Sure.
for that reason, that should be, we need to get that expunged.
And I
So
suppose, Steve, as well, I mean, no pardon can ever give you back those 2 years that you spent in jail as well.
I was asked what it was like, and I tell people, well, it was a military prison, so it wasn't like these were career criminals. These were all people that had been in the military, but there were murderers, there were rapists, there were thieves, there were other people that were there for the same reason I was. Ultimately, I would have rather been anywhere else. It was still prison. And the fact that people told me that they could tell it had changed something in me and that something had that there had been a really a deep impact for those years. I mean, I can deny it all I want. I can pretend, oh, I'm resilient, I got this, but in the end, I can't. It's trauma. So yeah, they can't. They made me pay them back for college. They ended my career early. So there are, financial impacts as well as time impacts, and just the idea that 2 years was actually a year and a half, since my sentence got cut when they threw out one of the charges. But that time, I can't get back. So you're right.
And why do you think this pardon process hasn't happened sooner? Why do you think it's taken till now?
I don't want to. I tried not to spin on that too much. It's been frustrating. I know a lot of people have said it. This is me not looking a gift horse in the mouth. They asked that question, like, why, President Biden could have done this 3 years ago. Why now? I don't know. But I'd like to think that my case and that when my story came out last year, I know right after that, the next piece in that series was the Pentagon announcing they were going to start to look at discharges, including criminal discharges, initially during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and then pre Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which would apply to me. So I didn't know when that would happen, but I thought, okay, well, maybe finally we shook we shook it a little bit, and they're finally getting off their stool to do something. And now, a year later, they're finally doing this. So there's inertia there. There's the glacial speed of the Pentagon and the government. I can put a lot on it. I'm just glad the day has come. And in
Sure.
many ways, I'd like to take the big magnanimous view that, hey, even though maybe it hasn't helped me, it's going to help some other people, down the road. And all the changes that have happened in the military over the last 10, 20 years are great for other people. But I'm going to have a selfish moment and actually say, no, we got to make this right for me. So, I mean, that's in a way why I'm putting myself out there, not just to champion for all the other people that have been impacted by it, but to really say, hey, make this right.
Mm-hmm. Well, enjoy this day that it has finally come for you. And thank you so much, Steve Marose, for speaking to us on BBC News.
Appreciate your time. Thanks.